Hello, 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 hello out there. It's been a while. Thank you for being here. Thank you for just showing up. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I am. Um, let's get into it. You want to be a witch. You want to do a spell. You wear your crystals and you say your positive affirmations every day and you do this and you do that. Let's talk about the origins of that. Let's talk about where does all of this come from? Where are you getting this from? Where did we get this from? All right, so let's just switch gears here for a second. What we're going to do is talk about where this came from. We're going to read an insert from the book of Enoch. Now, it's not in the canon in terms of, it's not in the Holy Bible, it's not in the Septuagint. This book was not included, but the name Enoch, the person Enoch, is included in the Bible. So, we will take this as it is. I am looking for. Hang on, guys. I have not been live in forever, so I'm trying to figure out all of these screens. Okay, that's not it. Okay, let's just start it all over. How about that? How about those apples? All right, so we're gonna read from the book of Enoch. All right, here we are. So let's see. I hope that you guys can see that. I hope you can hear me also. Again, I haven't been live in forever, so it might be a little wonky, but we're gonna get through it. If you can see it, if you can read it, I hope that you can. I'm gonna try to make it a little larger on my screen so that you can see it on yours. And we're going to talk about where all of this comes from, because we always want to question the source. Okay, we don't want to question the validity of what we're doing, because magic, spells, enchantments, all of that stuff, it's real, it works, but where did it come from? That is the question, and that is the question you should be asking. So let's go ahead and read from the book of Enoch. This is chapter 7, and then we're going to drop down to chapter 8. Okay, so it says here, all right, I'm going to just check one thing in terms of my volume. Okay. All right. Okay, and all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go into unto them, and to defile themselves with them, and they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. Okay, well, who is them? Who is they? We would have to jump back to chapter 6. We don't want to prolong this so much, but they are the fallen angels. Who are fallen angels? Angels that were kicked out, expelled out of heaven because of their rebellion. They did not want to serve God. They didn't want to honor God's creation, man. So they were expelled out of heaven and they fell unto the earth. Okay. So when they got here, this is what they did. They took unto themselves wives, and they taught these wives, they taught them charms, enchantments, the cutting of roots, and they made themselves acquainted with plants. All right. So we're going to jump down to chapter 8. And Azazel, this is one of the fallen angels, taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, in the art of working them, and the bracelets and the ornaments, and the use of antimony, that is a metal crystal. And then the beautifying of the eyelids, ladies, that's your makeup and your eyeshadow and all that sort, and all kinds of costly stones, diamonds, can't even say it, rubies, and so forth, and all coloring tinctures. So this would be dyes, for the dye of hair, for the dye of clothing, and so forth. And there arose much godlessness. So God is not a part of any of this. And they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Men were led astray by these fallen angels. Let's talk about who taught what. Samjaza taught enchantments and root cutting. So that would be your ritual, your magic rituals, root cutting, what herb, what plant you use for this, for that. Okay. And then our morose, the resolving of enchantment. So how do you get this spell off of you, this curse off you? How do you resolve it or take it off of another person? And Barquell, I'm butchering these names, taught astrology. So the astrological signs, the 12 zodiac signs. So taught that. Kokabel, the constellations. Okay, so look up in the sky. What does this star mean? Guiding or guidance and all that stuff. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Okay, so we like to think that the weather is natural, in which to a certain degree it is, but we know now that weather can be manipulated. You yourself can go onto the internet and buy a weather manipulation machine if you've got the money to do so. We know that scientists have been studying the weather and clouds. If they found that if you drop dry ice into a cloud, then you get rain. So, the knowledge of clouds. So just a quick Google search for yourself and learning about that, you'll find out that, weather can be manipulated. And Arquel, the signs of the earth, Shamsel, the signs of the sun, and Sariel, the course of the moon. There you go. If this isn't what the esoteric and the occult is about, the moon, the new moon, the full moon, the quarter moon, and so forth, and what sign is in this moon and this new moon and this full moon. So you're getting all of this knowledge from fallen angels. We have to question the source. If it didn't come from God and it came from fallen angels, this might not be what we should be partaking in, because we do know that witchcraft, this is what it is indirect rebellion to God. Point blank, period. Because what you do is you take God out of the equation. It says, and there was much godlessness. You don't need a God if you have a spell. You don't need a God if you have a crystal. You don't need a God if you can go to a tarot card reader, a psychic, do Reiki healing. All you need is these things. So you've taken God out of your life and out of the equation, right? And it says, and as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. And we'll leave it there. And on another day, we'll keep going. This is from the book of Enoch. So these fallen angels taught all of these things, and men started to perish, because when fallen angel gives fallen man, we all fell because of the sin of Adam and Eve. When fallen angels give fallen men this type of knowledge, what do you think is going to happen? Ding, ding, ding. All kind of lawlessness, godlessness. If I can do a spell against my neighbor who I don't like, who I want gone, who I want maybe even deceased, I want them deleted, right? Then I will. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. Because that is the mindset, the operation of fallen man. Let's just take it a step back. Maybe you don't want anyone deceased. You don't want them deleted, right? You feel like you're entitled to somebody's man. You feel like you're entitled to, somebody's husband, somebody's wife. You want them gone, or you want them out of the picture. You do some spell, you do some type of work to get them. See, what all of this begets is lawlessness and an overwhelming source of chaos. The whole movement of New Age and love and light and manifestation, this isn't new. This has been going on for years, thousands of years. it's just hitting us like a big tidal wave. It's like overwhelming. You look on the TV, you see a movie, a series about witches and spells, and it makes you feel comfortable in you doing that when you shouldn't be, because you're in direct rebellion to God. You say, how am I in direct rebellion to God? Well, let's talk about what his word says in regards to what you should be doing, what we should not be doing, right? So I'm just gonna, let's see if I can get, okay. All right, so let's go here. Let's see. Okay, and let's make sure that that you guys can see this, all right? Okay. All right, so 1 Samuel 15, the 23rd chapter to the 24th. Okay, so for rebellion is like the sin of divination. There you go. I mean, we'll read further, but this is what it is. Why is that in direct rebellion to God? It's because you say you bypass God. You say, I don't trust God. I don't want to pray. I don't want to, present myself holy and acceptable. I don't want to do any of that. I'm going to go over here and inquire from tarot card reader, psychic, whomever, and ask question of what my future looks like, what will happen here and there, and what should I do. I'm not going to inquire of God. If you don't go to God, then what are you doing? You're rebelling against. So for rebellion is like the sin of divination. Okay? Defiance, like the iniquity of teraphim, because you rejected the Lord's command. So this is when you go outside of God, that's what you're doing. You're in direct rebellion. All right. And we've also talked about from the book of Enoch, where you get all of this stuff from. You get it from fallen angels. You get it from demonic spirits. This didn't come from love and light. It didn't come from God. It came from other beings who were in direct opposition to God. And they gave men these secrets of the heavens because they came from the heaven, right? You have to question the source. If it didn't come from God, then it's from other. Other is typically always will be bad, the adversary, right? So this is why you should come out of doing your rituals and your spells and your affirmations and all of that stuff. You don't have to do that if you just trust in God. If you put all of your trust in God. It says here in Philippians 4, 6-7, you don't have to be anxious. You don't have to have anxiety. You don't have to overthink. You don't have to do all of this stuff that you're doing in this new age, right? You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is put your trust in a holy God who loves you, who wants a relationship with you. You don't have a relationship with him. You're too busy in your cauldron cooking up. You're too busy in your mortar and your pestle pushing and crushing down. You're too busy worried about the moon and the new moon. You're giving your money to someone who can do a spell for you when you can just trust in God. It says in Philippians 4, 6-7, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Boom, there you go. This is how you curb anxiety. Prayer. Every time you feel anxious every time you don't know the way, you don't run to a tarot card reader, a psychic, your own cards. You pull out your own tarot card. No, what you do is pray. God, I'm feeling anxiety about this certain situation. Can you help my heart, my mind? What should I do? Go to God in prayer and petition. Have that relationship with God, the one that you have with your favorite tarot card reader, with your obsession with all of this. Turn away from that, repent from that, and go to God. God wants a direct relationship with you. He doesn't need a middleman. You don't need one either. You don't have to do any spell. You don't have to do any of that to come to God. All you have to do is pray, and pray from the heart earnestly. Cry out to God. It says if you draw near to him, he'll draw near to you. So this is why you should not be listening to tarot card readings. This is why you should come out of this lifestyle. It is in direct rebellion to God. Look where we got it from. You can also find extra biblical texts that'll tell you more, go more into depth about all of this, and maybe all of this magic, enchantments, and so forth, and the origin of it. It's not good. Once you jump down that rabbit hole, you'll see this is not good. This did not come from a good place. So, but it also says in the word that Satan, the adversary, the slanderer, he presents himself as love and light. Isn't that a saying that goes around in this community a lot? Love and light. He's not going to present himself as big, bad, evil Satan. No, he's going to present himself as love and light. That's going to be more acceptable to you, to me, to anyone. And we're going to accept the lie, and we're going to live in the lie. But the truth is, you don't have to do any of this. All you have to do is believe in God, believe that you have a Savior, Jesus Christ, and in prayer and supplication, go to your God, go to your Father. All things will be made new. All things will be made right if you stand in that relationship with God. Don't stray away from it, and don't try to make up your own God. We've got a lot of this going on too. We've got a lot of mixing doctrines. Like, I read tarot cards and I do spells and I do this, but I love God too. Okay, you've just created your own religion. God is so loving that he'll let you do that, even though you are dead wrong. It's wrong. You cannot conform the two. You cannot try to marry these two doctrines. These are doctrines of demons, and then you have the doctrine of God. And you can't do it. You can't do both. Okay? You're going to have to choose this day. Which one will you do? You either trust and have real faith in God, or you have trust in your spells, your enchantments, your root cutting, and so forth. The beauty of it is you get to choose. We serve such a loving God that he allows you to choose. He allows you to choose, and he doesn't strike you dead. So you can continue to choose to live the life you want to live, do what you want to do, be in direct rebellion to God, and he allows that. Now, the payment for that will be eternal damnation away from God, the presence of God not existing where you will be. So that's the payment for that. Okay. Eventually you will have to pay that, because in this life you chose to rebel against God. So he says, okay, well, that's fine. But the payment for doing so is. So you have to, it's really black and white. It's not as convoluted as other people try to make it. It's very black and white. It's for some of you, you've heard this term, especially if you maybe in the financial sector, back end, front end. It's either you're going to get, if you're a true believer, you're going to get paid on the back end. If you don't believe at all and you reject God, you're getting paid on the front end. You're getting everything that this life has to offer you. You are what some people would term as living your best life. Yeah, because in your next life, you're going to burn. It just is what it is. It's very black and white. There's no in between. There's no, well, what about this? No, it just is. You can choose. That's the beauty of the God that we serve. He lays before you choice, you choose. I'm coming to you today, and you're hearing this today for a reason. It may be that you need to choose. You've been in this new age, love and light, manifestation, just lawlessness, debauchery for too long. It's time for you to come out of it and come to the truth of knowing a real and true God who's made all, who's done all, who knows all, who is all. So this is what we have today, and we'll go into depth about. We'll definitely talk about the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, Yahshua HaMashiach, on the cross. We'll talk about that sacrifice, and we'll talk about blood. You can go today, and look at one of the horror movies, one of the scary movies, and they'll possibly make some reference to blood, and you can look at a vampire movie, Dracula. Blood is important, and we'll break down what blood is, and we'll break down why it's so important and why it's been so looked over in Christianity, in following Christ. It's very important because it redeems, it takes you out of, it brings you back to. For we had to be reconciled. There's another word you guys love, reconciled. We had to be reconciled to God because we were outside of the covenant that was made with evil, with other. I don't want to get too far into that, but we'll talk about it. We'll go over it. I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback. I know a lot of people just love the life that they're in, because the hardest people to reach with this message will be the one who has gotten results from the lie. For I got results from the lie. When I was living in the lie, I got results from it. There is a little truth in every lie. You can't get a lie without knowing the truth, right? So there is a little truth in the lie that you're living, or that you're living in. But the truth of the matter is, it's a lie. And you just got to come to knowing that. You got to come to, and also, one thing I was thinking about the other day, this whole esoteric, occult, love and light manifestation type of, ideology, philosophy. It's very selfish. It's extremely selfish. Where are the love and light people when there is disaster? Where are the love and light people when people are in need? I'm not going to talk about all the things that I do in terms of in the community, but I really don't see the love and light people. I see the Christians. I see Muslim. I see everything else and everybody else. But the love and light community is the most selfish community there is, because it's all about self. It's all about self-improvement, self-this and self-betterment and how you can do and get better for self. You know who else has the doctrine of self? Satan. Yeah, let it manifest. Let it marinate in your soul. Satan. You come out of this. Let it sit with you and rest with you. Okay? Yet these words may shock you to your core, or maybe upset you, but it might just be conviction of your heart. Maybe because your spirit is trying to tell you this is truth. And it's time. You've been in this arena for far too long, and you've gotten nowhere. It's been circular. You've been in a circle with all of this. You're dealing with the same issues. You maybe a bit of progress, but you've gone nowhere, and you've gone nowhere fast. Come to God, who can take you where you need to be, not where you want to be, or where you need to be. Again, draw closer to God, and He will draw closer to you. But you've got to come out of this behavior of witchcraft, because it's in direct rebellion to God. Okay, you're not a witch, you're not a warlock, you're not a wizard. You don't need to be. All you need to be is a child of God. Serve God. Everything will be made right. This is the best life. It's the most free life. You don't have to wake up and say an affirmation. You don't have to go to sleep with an affirmation. You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is live and trust God. I know it's scary because it takes away you thinking that you're special. All that this community does is make people think that they're more special than they really are. It just is what it is. It makes people think that they're powerful. I can do a spell, I can do a ritual, I can listen to a tarot card reading, and I can find out about my husband or boyfriend or this or that. And it keeps you in the loop of being stuck. It's time to get unstuck. Don't you want to be unstuck? Don't you want to have freedom? Whom the sun sets free is free indeed. It's so funny because in the tarot, the sun card, if you do your research on that card, it says God in flesh. Who is the Son of God? Jesus Christ. God made flesh. So look, everything in the occult, everything in the esoteric is a knockoff of God's true story, of God's truth. So you're always going to find that when you exist in the lie, if you go to find the truth, you're like, wow, this is eerily similar, the same. Because all Satan does is counterfeit what God has already, what is the truth. He knows the truth, so you just gotta manipulate the truth, make it a lie, and make it so that you can take to it. You want to come out of this lifestyle because again, it's just not the best for you, and it's a road to eternal damnation. Not being in God's presence for an eternity, not a week, not a month, not a year, but an eternity. And you don't want to perish because you chose to live the way you wanted to live. I mean, for some of you, you'll say, well, I'll take the consequences. For some of you, this isn't sitting right. You don't want to be in utter damnation with demons and hellcats for an eternity. So why not put down the cauldron, put down the mortar and pestle, tear down the affirmations? You don't need them. And start getting into a prayer life with God, okay? So this is what we have today. Tomorrow, we're going to go more into depth about some of the fallen angels, what they did, what they've done. We're also going to talk about the blood and how important it is in how important it is in the esoteric community, and how important it is in Christianity, in followers of the way. I just like saying the way because, God is the way, truth, and the light. So followers of the way, how important it is on both sides. Okay. How important the blood is. We're going to even break down what blood is. I've gone so deep into so that it all makes sense to you, and that you can. How can we, you and me, come to the truth if we don't reason? So we just got to reason together. Either you have the truth or I have the truth. I'm hoping that the esoteric community has the truth, because that means that we all get to go to love and light when we die. And we don't have to worry about any of this. But if I have the truth, then some of you are, this is a warning sign for you. Warning, your hazard light. The hazard lights are on. It's time to think about some things, okay? So many blessings to all of you. Thank you for being here. I'm praying for all of you. And if you feel like you need prayer, if you want someone to pray with you, you can always email me. The email address is below. If you want to continue, if you want to help get the message out to others, you can donate. You don't have donations are never mandatory, have never been on this channel. And everything that you need below, everything that you need to get in contact with me is below. Email, website is to come. It's in the making. And thank you again. Many blessings. Have a really, really good day. I know that you will. Take care.